As we continue to navigate the ever-evolving business landscape, understanding the future of work and how to harness human potential is more crucial than ever before. Dr. Danny Davis, a business futurist, addresses these pressing issues in his recently released book, Future Better. And he also joins me in the studio today. It's wonderful to have you with me. This is a huge topic. I doubt we'll be able to cover everything in this interview, but where should we begin?
Good question, Mike. Thanks very much for having me, first of all. Look, I think this is a really pressing topic because I think we all know that life is getting more complex and difficult. And this is an investigation that I guess my career has been uncovering about how do we actually think and work in organisations? How do we organise the organisation of human labour? How do we work together to unleash our ingenuity and our creativity more effectively together? Organisations are interesting things. I mean, ultimately, when we work together, we're in some kind of structured organisation, be it government, be it listed, be it community. It's all about organisations. Organisations have a way of thinking that doesn't necessarily represent any of the individuals who are in it. So organisations are complex living systems that have a degree of complexity where they end up expressing their own personality.
Interesting.
And I was really fascinated by this as a topic, so much so that I did a PhD on it. But really saying, you know, there are a lot of challenges in front of us, and I think we could spend a lot of time listing the challenges, and I won't attempt to do that. But we know they're there. How can we lift the way that we work together to be more effective at achieving financial outcomes? Yes, but also all the non-financial outcomes that we need to hit.
Okay, so let's... Please continue. I was just going to ask you about organisations and how they can think critically about their futures moving forward with everything changing so much. I know business leaders might be sitting there going, I can't prioritise mental health, the bank balance, the people in my organisation, etc. Tell us a little bit more.
Absolutely. So it really comes down to how organisations think. So through my PhD and a lot of extended work and in the advisory work that I do in large organisations, I've had the opportunity to engage with hundreds of directors, CEOs, government officials, etc.
How are they feeling?
Stressed.
Yeah.
Stressed, stretched. You know, I call it the executive epidemic. People are working as hard as they possibly can. They cannot work harder, and it's not working. And through all of the work that I've done, I've come to this with a great deal of empathy.
Yeah.
They're not stupid people, not by any stretch. They're very intelligent, very committed, very professional people.
And nor are they villains or villainous, as some cases might be.
Correct.
Yeah.
You'll always find one or two, and they hit the headlines. But it's not about that. It's about the day-to-day, and it's about what are the structures, I call it the kind of hidden infrastructure, the plumbing.
Run us through it.
That makes these decisions happen inside a large organisation. If it's not the individual, and there are individual decisions along the way, but it's about the decisions that happen through the organisation and its processes. You can call it governance, and that's probably true, but it also probably distracts from the case. So I've tried to unpack that in this book in stories about organisations, how they think, how they operate, how some of the most impressive organisations are doing a really good job of engaging with these issues.
Right.
And some of our larger organisations are really struggling.
And it sounds like the small ones are equally as struggling.
Well, it's not just a matter of small and big. And that's, you know, a lot of the press and a lot of the policy work even at government is aimed at startups, and aren't they great? So we're just writing off the big organisations. So in Australia, that's 50% of GDP. Is, you know, the ASX 20 is superannuation and government is 50% of GDP. If we're writing them off, we've got a problem. So I was really interested in how do the outperformers amongst them differ? What are the differing behaviours? And look, unsurprisingly, it comes down to the evidence-based decision making. We all kind of know that, and they're all striving to it. But the outperformers had a different take on it that they weren't necessarily even conscious of, which was fascinating to see.
Okay.
Fascinating to see. So I kind of say it like this. Almost every decision every day in our life is influenced by accounting. Yeah? What's the cost of this? How much is it going to cost me? All of our decisions. Now, that's great. And it's certainly better than not using...
Very analytical, though.
Very analytic. But it's all backwards looking. It's nothing about forward, and it's all about money. My stuff is about future value, not just financial value, but non-financial, ethical, social, environmental, all of the complexity. How do you embrace all of that complexity
forecasting it
into forecasting the outcome of your own actions. If we did everything we were working on today, who would we be? Is that who we want to be? If we want to create some kind of different outcome than the inevitable outcome of the actions we're taking, what do we need to change now? How can we change our behaviour? Think of this in terms of personality. If I don't like the way I'm behaving, how can I change my behaviour today to be
down the line and future-proof, etc.
Yeah.
It's such an interesting topic, but I'm aware of the time. I'm curious to know how you'd like to wrap it up, summarise or engage the audience before I let you go, just because I know it's such a dense one.
That's probably a really good question. Look, what I'm really... I wrote the book because I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
But I'm passionate about people recognising, moving this from the hidden infrastructure into the tacit, into something that you can deal with. Human beings can fly through aeroplanes.
True.
We can build skyscrapers because we have the engineering behind it. I'm interested in letting people know that there is an engineering behind how we can build, and that's not, here's a magic answer, but here's how we can consider it ourselves. Here's how we can make those decisions tacit and visible for ourselves so we can build better, more effective organisations. I want them to know it's possible.
Yep.
I want to know that there are people who are doing it now, and I want to know they can do it themselves.
Very well said by you, and I appreciate you joining me in the studio today.
Love it. Thank you very much.
And of course, thank you to all of you for tuning in. Hopefully you've learned something from our discussion. I know I have, and there is plenty more to come right after this.
You're watching Ticker. We'll have more in just a few minutes.